Welcome to Caseback Watches, my name is Tim, and in this episode I'd like to speak about leather. Some people suggested for this series, Style Break on Caseback Watches, a video about leather jackets. But I thought there are so many genres out there, so many different leather jackets, and so one video wouldn't be enough. And so I thought, let's step further, let's make a video how to spot leather quality. And this is extremely important, I think, because you know that sometimes buying yourself a nice leather product, leather jacket, wallet, a bag, sometimes this is more an investment than a simple purchase, right? Because the prices are high. We're talking here about an item which should last decades. And so if you buy yourself a very expensive leather item and then it turns out after 3 years it is not worth it, this is a shame then. This is a shame. And so the idea here is to share my knowledge about leather with you. And I worked in the last years a lot with very different leathers and collected quite some knowledge, I think. And more important, I collected some samples I can show you now. I show you in the lightbox in a minute several examples of leather, and then we really can spot what's quality, what's not quality. And without further ado, let's do this right now. Okay, first examples, first samples of leather qualities or leather differences. Here you see cowhide and calf, and those materials here represent a large percentage of leather goods out there. If you buy anything between a, let's say, dress boot and a rougher wallet, then it's made of cowhide or calf. And what I like to explain first are the different methods to tan a hide, to tan leather, because this is the major difference. You see the appearance here is extremely different. This here is vegetable tanned leather and this is chrome tanned leather. And I wouldn't say this is superior or this is superior. They are extremely different, as you can see. If you take this wallet, this is, by the way, the prototype of my new wallet. I'm really looking forward to wear this now. This is chrome tanned calf. And the nice thing here is, you see it's a shiny surface, very rich, very good color, very deep color, but it's not in any form sealed. You can still see the leather, the pores and the little details, which makes leather so interesting to look at. See that? It doesn't look in any form like plastic or something like that, but it's very rich and very nice look at. And if you take this is the prototype of the my smaller wallet, by the way. It's slightly different from the later versions because very narrow stitching here. But you see, there's more going on. There's more going on here. This is vegetable tanned leather, more going on. And at the same time, it's a little bit more rustic. It's not that elegant, it's not that even. And so it's hard to tell which process is better. It really depends on the purpose. If you want a, let's say, fine dress boot, then you have this thing here. Then this is Italian box calf. This is basically good shoe leather. And if you want to have even more the leather experience and you are fine with little dings and dangs here, then is vegetable tanned the way to go for you. And the next thing we can discuss here is are the edges. Very important with leather products that you have nice edges. And here you see a very rustic look. This is beeswax, looks like this. You apply it on the edges and then you can rub it in with a cloth and you can create some heat and then it will seal the edges. This is relatively exhausting, by the way, but it's a natural form to seal the edges and you can renew it, of course, very easy when there's something going on with it. But I've never seen this, by the way. I've never seen that there was a problem with this type of edge sealing. And very different, completely other look. If you see this here, here you see a black surface. A black surface feels different. I mean, this is brand new. It will be more even from after a while, but it's completely different. And this is ink edge. This is ink edge, looks like this. This is basically liquid rubber. Liquid rubber, you apply it on the edges and then it's sealed, perfectly sealed against moisture. And again, it's hard to say what is better. This is more rustic, more natural, and this is more refined, more elegant. Both can be renewed very easy if there's something with the edge. A leather worker can apply this or that and make the thing like new. It's not a problem, but it's interesting, I think, to know the differences. If you have a finer leather product, then it's more likely that it comes with ink edge, and a more rustic product, it's more likely that it comes with beeswax. And those leather samples here are top-notch. they're top notch. This is Italian box calf, chrome tanned, as I said, and you can see it feels not dry. You cannot see crazy wrinkles. I mean, if you bend it and do like this, then you can see some waves, let's say, but you don't see any form of wrinkles, and more important, you cannot see any form of layer, of top layer, which could come off. Same thing here. You see here wrinkles, but they look pretty natural. They really look like, yeah, like skin. Excuse the mess. I've tested all sorts of products with this little wallet here, but it feels good. It feels not dry. It feels, and it's completely free from any form of flakes which come off here. You cannot imagine to pull some layer here off, and this is a good sign. It feels rich. It feels strong. It feels, yeah, it doesn't feel dry in any form. This applies to both samples here, and you really can see this is a good looking product. And if you cannot see that, relax, I will show you now the bad examples, and after that you can see it very well. But first, another big difference is the way to dye the leather, because you have two methods: dyeing only the surface or dyeing through the entire material. Let's take another example. Here you see the raw product. This leather is dyed entirely. It's a little bit different because the layer here, or let's say this side, takes more ink or more dye, so to speak, and this side a little bit less. But again, this is chrome tanned, and chrome tanned leather originally is white, completely white, with some spots or some shades of blue in it. Looks very unnatural, and you can see here this is completely dyed through. This is dyed entirely. But if you scratch this here, let's do it with a blade. Wow, it's a good product. It's not so easy to, yeah, there you go. And now you see a difference in tone, a difference in color, and often people say that, oh, well, they've advertised this as dyed entirely, but I can scrub off a layer and there's another color under it. This is normal. This is pretty normal. This is pretty normal. It's because leather is it's a complex product, and the first layer is a little bit different than the other layers here. And so this is what it looks like. And you repair it, by the way, really, really easy. Beeswax wax on it. I'm creating heat here, and the heat makes the leather darker. You can do it even better with shoe polish in the tone of the leather. And then you see it's not perfect. Of course not. This was, I mean, I've treated it with a blade, but you see it's different. It's better. And if you do it again with shoe polish, you can erase this entirely. Yes. And another form, I have not an example, unfortunately, because it's relatively seldom today, when they only dye the surface of the leather. And then you have a scratch, and under the scratch you have white, bluish leather. And again, is this a problem? Is this a quality issue? Not necessarily. If you have finer shoes, then they often do this by hand, that they dye only the surface. And this is a very well-respected part of the craft, so it's not a problem. But I prefer this type, because as you can see, you can repair it yourself if you want. So those are the major differences: chrome tanned, vegetable tanned. Then the two methods to seal the edges: wax and ink edge. There is another one where you fold the edge around itself, and this is another technique, but those are the very common techniques if you buy something made by hand. And third, as mentioned, dyed through the entire material, or only, let's say, ink the surface. By the way, excuse my hands, I work with ink, and so I'm pretty messy here. Okay, those were the good examples. Now let's examine the bad examples, so that we can learn something here, that we can see something. Two examples, two watch straps. This is an Oris strap, and this is a Zeiger strap. Strap is a small shop in my hometown. Both are chrome tanned straps, so the quality is relatively equal, and both are calf, I think. I'm pretty sure that these are calf straps. Here you see this printed alligator thing, which we all love so much. This was irony, ladies and gentlemen. So chrome tanned both, calf both, but you can see here clearly a difference. This thing is, I don't know what they've done with the surface, to be frank, but it looks like plastic. And here, on the contrary, you can see clearly that the leather is unsealed. It's open. You can see the pores. You can see the structure of the hide. And I guarantee you, if you wear this a year, then this sealing here, this thing, this I don't know what it is, this plastic type of layer will come off. And if you wear this a year, nothing can happen. Nothing can happen. I mean, maybe the ink edge will come off here after some time. This is the first issue you have with straps, that ink edge comes off, and a leather worker could repair it. But most people just tolerate it. Next example, gloves. Those are leather gloves. Those are my gloves. They are around about 10 years old. And you see they are completely wasted. They're completely wasted. I've patched them, and yeah, they're completely not really wearable anymore. But you can still see, this is deer, by the way, deer leather. You can still see that the structure is basically intact. I mean, you have some spots where it is a little bit damaged and nasty, but the structure is still shiny. It doesn't feel dry. It doesn't look unnatural, and you cannot see any form of flakes coming off, right? 10 years old, worn heavily, and you see they're still pretty much intact. The structure of the leather still looks good. This is very high quality leather, ladies and gentlemen, very high quality leather. But then I thought, all right, I need new ones, and then I changed the glove maker, because the gentleman who manufactured this is old now, and he doesn't want any more. And so I changed. Those gloves here are only 1.5 years or 2 years, I think 2 years. Look at this, look at the mess here. I hope the camera catches this. Flakes coming off here. The structure is completely damaged. Here the yarn is breaking. This is close to a hole here. This leather here is thinner, but it's heavier, and this is somewhat blown up. See the difference? See the difference? This is shiny and neat and strong, and this is some like foam or something like that. It's deer, this is deer, but you can clearly see here that this is a very cheap deer leather. Here on the fingertips, I'm not a mafia killer with heavy use of its index finger, right? But look at this. Okay, next example, old shoe. And this is a very old shoe, but not decades. And here you see something weird. You see here cracks. Maybe on the other side it's more visible. There you are. There you see cracks. This shoe was always treated with shoe pomade or shoe polish, or how do you name it? And you see cracks. You see cracks here. This shouldn't happen. A good leather will survive this. I mean, if this shoe was, let's say, 20 to 30 years old, then okay, I get it. But this is a sign for weak quality. This is a sign for weak quality. Again, flakes come off here. Here you see it again. You can see it if the wrinkles look in a form strange, so that you are under the impression that there is a layer attached or that the structure is loose. But to see this on new shoes, I give you that you need a little bit more experience, but I think you can learn it faster with this example here. A relatively cheap jacket. I've bought this when I was unexperienced. It's rather old, and this is sheep leather. Cheap sheep leather. And you can see here flakes. Flakes are coming off here. Good leather is just is getting shinier and shinier. But that flakes come off, this is not a good sign. It's not a sign for quality. And here you couldn't see it. At the beginning, But I could have been smarter because the jacket was under, I think, under 200 euros, which is very low price for a leather product. And so it was a bad idea to buy this. Here you can see it again. The first layer comes off. And this is a sign for weak, cheap leather. Another example you can see here with this strap here. First, the form. The form indicates that this is a weak substance here, this bending here. And you can see here that it's very, I don't know how to call this in English to be frank, but it's very rough, and again you can pull out tiny parts, and overall it looks not very good, to be frank. And I think it's impossible to polish this material. It feels very soft. Next example, you see the same material, basically, all the same size and the same purpose, another bag with another strap. This thing here is 10 years old. And there you see, structure is completely in order of the leather. It's completely in order. There's nothing coming off. See this? What a difference. What a difference to the last example. And it feels not at all spongy and weak. It feels like a very substantial material. And so to put it all together, what you want is a finish, a unsealed finish, so that you cannot find any signs of a artificial treatment like the Oris strap here, right? You want an unsealed, focus, unsealed finish. You don't want to feel any form of sponginess in the product. You want to see artificial wrinkles. I mean, if I bend this, then you have some form of wrinkles, but they look completely natural, and that's what you want. And I think with all these hints, you are able now to spot good leather, or at least you can learn how to spot it very quickly. And now let's change quickly the location. I want to show you a hide, a half of a hide of a calf, and then we can see the different qualities in one hide. Okay, here we are with our hide, half a hide. I've placed some tools on top because the camera focus doesn't like this surface. And by the way, excuse the sound, this is camera tone because I don't have the equipment here for a nice microphone. But what I want to show you are the different qualities in one hide, or half a hide. You see here, there was the spine, and this area there with a tool on top was part of a leg, or covered a leg, and you can see clearly the difference in quality. And this is the explanation why it's so expensive to work with leather. You cannot use this area here. But when you see a cheap leather product, then they use everything. They use just everything. This is the explanation why you can have a product and one side of the wallet looks like this and the other one side looks like that. This is exactly the thing. A good leather worker would say, we cut this off, we throw this away, and we use it here. This is there is the limit. There is a limit. We can use everything here, but not this part. By the way, if you are from an English-speaking country, if you're a native speaker, can you please explain to me what means hell-bent for leather? I've listened to that Judas Priest song the other day. Hell-bent for leather. What does it mean? Hell-bent? A bent hell for leather? I don't get it. I simply don't get it. And now allow me 30 seconds for 2 announcements. First, if you like this channel, then please consider subscribing. It's very helpful for me. It's very encouraging. And don't forget to hit the bell, because I cover here topics around watches, not only 100% focused on watches. And the YouTube algorithm doesn't like that. And it's very likely that he will not recommend you videos like that, because the algorithm thinks we are very narrow-minded and we don't want any sort of distraction from watches, which isn't true. And so make sure that you hit the bell. And next little announcement, if you want to see more of my leather work or tailor work, and of course wrist watches, I'm wearing the Tissot Navigator, still really in love with the piece. So if you want to see more of everything here, then please join me on Instagram. It's Caseback_Tim. And now let me thank you very much for your attention here, and maybe until next time.